You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about maintaining focus in your life. So when you have that goal, that dream, what you're striving for, we always want to keep that crystal clear and near and dear to our hearts so that we can achieve steps every step of the way and know that we're getting closer to that goal. So we're going to be talking about that today and taking your calls. Again, that number is 800-333-0001. Also coming up in our next segment, we're going to have our inspirational guest, Nikki Johnson-Huston. And honestly, going from being homeless in poverty to becoming an attorney, and there's some other things that she's doing right now, which I'm going to save that for her story because it's amazing. I mean, she's gone all the way from 0 to 10, literally. So I want you all to listen up there and get inspired and hear how she maintained her focus every step of the way. Also, if you'd like additional resources on today's topic, feel free to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. We want to make sure that you are supported. And also, if you have an inspirational story that you'd like to share with our community, we'd love to hear from you. Go to connect@livingfullout.com. Just let us know what you've encountered, the challenges you've overcome, and perhaps we'll have you on as a guest, as an inspirational guest on our show. And if you'd like to hear today's show again, there's so many ways that you can listen. You can go to livingfullout.com and all the shows and episodes are waiting for you there. If you have Alexa, you can check us out there, or go to your app store on your phone and just download the Living Full Out app and you can hear our show on the go. So we just want to make sure that as you're going in and out of every day and those curveballs come your way, that you're able to turn to our show for support and inspiration. Now, as we talk about today's topic, maintaining focus, that's not always easy because there's a lot of distractions. And sometimes we even self-sabotage ourselves. We let ourselves down and then we get emotionally involved on being off track and feeling as though we're not going to make it. And I'm here to declare today that just put all that negativity aside. All that self-talk, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the regrets, the I might not, what if I don't, I'm not good enough. I really want you to take all those and just put them in the closet because you know what? They don't exist. That doesn't define who you are or who you could be. When we consider maintaining our focus, it's really looking at the best traits of who you are. Now, that might be professionally, that might be as a friend, as a good partner. It might be the hobbies and passions that you have and what you're really good at. I know people will come to me because they're like, Nancy, you're a really good listener. I have a problem. Tell me what you think I should do. I'm not always going to give them the answer, but I'm definitely going to listen because that's what I'm good at. And the thing is, you want to look at your life and what do your friends and family come to you for? Are you technology savvy? Are you someone who's a good cook? Are you someone who is really like history and facts-wise knowledgeable? And are you a good writer? What is it that are traits that are special and unique to you that if you just turn it up and let those attributes shine, you can always take yourself up a notch where you want to be in terms of reaching for successes, but also you have the opportunity to give more people because it's something that you're naturally good at. So when we consider maintaining our focus, it's first of all assessing, what is it that we want to achieve? And what do we already have in our quote, quote, toolbox that we can turn to and that we can rely on? And again, that might be natural skills and talents you have. Then you want to think to yourself, okay, what do I not have? Realistically, if there's something you want to achieve, what other resources might I need to acquire? What support might I need to get so that this goal can be achieved? And when you consider that, that's putting together what I like to call a plan of action. You're kind of putting together that to-do list of all the things that are required to get you to where you want to go. Now, I believe that you can maintain your focus when you do have that direction, when you are able to follow a certain path. And in fact, that's why so many people call in each week, because they're just longing for, what's the next step? How do I get out of a situation I'm currently in? So in fact, I'm getting more from our producer that we have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can we help you?
I just had a quick question. How do I build up the courage when it comes to talking to new people?
That's a really good one. So when you're talking to people, these are new people that you don't know.
Yeah.
Are you intimidated by them for any particular reason?
I don't know. I feel as though I'll come off as awkward enough where they won't even give me the time of day. I don't know.
But you know what? I like awkward. I dig it. No, I do, honestly. Because the thing is, do you want to be like everybody else? Because how boring would that be if we were just all carbon copies of each other? And I promise you, the people that look and sound like they have it all together and they're talking to people who have it all together, I think they're bored as well, okay? Because everybody's kind of posturing and trying to say the right thing and have the right answers. And life just isn't always right. I'll tell you a tip. You will never go wrong in talking to people, especially new people, when you're yourself. Okay? Now, do kind of mirror and match the other person somewhat. Okay? Meaning that if they're clearly sad and they're having a hard day, don't get all silly and jokester, right? Because it's insensitive, right? You got to kind of mirror their emotions, right?
All right.
But outside of that, you will never go wrong being you. The kicker of life, though, is who are you? Right? So who are you in the world? So that's what you want to figure out. That's actually kind of the quest of life. And sometimes our friends and our family can put a mirror up to us and they can show us who we are, just kind of like everything I just talked about at the beginning of the show, attributes that we're known for, skills and talents that we have that are signature to us, that can sometimes define who you are. And then other times you're just going to have to feel it for yourself. So as we kind of close up our time together, I'd like to ask you, what is one aspect of you that you're really proud of?
I've been told I'm a bit witty.
Okay. And are you proud of that?
I am.
Okay. And why are you proud of being witty?
Because I've always thought of myself as the quiet, awkward type. And surprisingly, when I talk to my friends about it, they tell me the exact opposite.
Well, there you go, right? So who you think you are in your head is actually not who you are in the world. Ooh, that mind is a scary place to be sometimes. It plays tricks on us. So give me one more attribute, one more aspect of you that you're proud of.
How? I guess I'm kind. I don't know. I don't really think too much on it.
Well, but this is where I want to coach you. You want to think about it. Okay, so let's say, and look at the languaging. I think I'm kind. I think I'm kind. So I want you to start saying to yourself, I'm kind. Just more assertive. That's who you are. I'm a witty, kind person. So when you start to define these aspects of you, this is where I'm going with this whole thing. The next time you're around people that you don't know and you're feeling nervous, maybe insecure, maybe a little unsteady, or just not sure if you're going to say the right thing, I want you to always tell yourself, I'm a witty, kind person. And I want you to even start to develop more words to define yourself, almost like you're having a pep talk. Okay? So when you go into an unknown situation, before you enter that door, before you first start that first conversation, I'm a witty, kind person. And let that be your lead. And I promise you, the anxieties will fade away. You see how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm personally glad I met you today. So thank you very much for calling in, and keep us posted on how things go.
All right. Thank you again for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling in. And I love that he brought up that question, right? Because it can be very intimidating to go and meet new people. What if you're trying to find a love of your life? What if you're trying to apply for a job and you're sitting right next to all these candidates going for the same job? It's so easy to crawl back in our chair and sink down and feel small. But just like that caller, think about those attributes that are signature to you. He's a witty, kind person. Who are you? And be that person in the world. That's how you maintain the focus for your life. Stay with us. We're going to be coming right back with our inspirational guest. And again, it's all about maintaining focus. And I'm sure that Nikki Johnson-Huston will have some great lessons to share with you to get you over that hurdle, that challenge that you're facing. And I know for myself, I'm telling you, being legally blind, I used to think it was something that was tough and emotionally hard, but it's given me a great gift in life, and I'll share that with you in our next segment as well. It's all about maintaining focus as we live full out. We'll be back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about maintaining focus in our life. And how do we do that? How do we not let all those moments that we're thrown off guard or self-sabotaging ourselves or just life gets in the way? How do we stay on track? Well, our inspirational guest today, Nikki Johnson-Huston, honestly, from 0 to 10, her life has had ins and outs and twists and turns, and only she can tell it best. But going from being homeless, poverty, foster system, mom with an addiction, I could go on and on and on. But yet she found secret ingredients signature to her that allowed her not to lose her focus. She was able to maintain knowing who she was at the core so she could achieve success and those dreams and goals she had for herself. So I'd very much like to welcome Nikki to the show.
Hi, Nancy. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are a powerhouse, but I know that wasn't something that just happened overnight. You had to literally find yourself and test and tweak and experience and really let life wash over you to become who you are today. And I want to take our guests back in time a bit because you grew up under very poverty-stricken conditions. Can you share with us just what your intimate upbringing was?
Absolutely. So my mother had addiction problems. She had drug addiction, and she was also an alcoholic. She was a single mom, and that made for a very unstable childhood. By the time I was 9, my mother's addiction had really landed us on the streets, and so we were staying in motels or hotels or trying to get into homeless shelters. And if we couldn't get into a homeless shelter for the night, sometimes we would even sleep outside on a park bench. And as you can imagine, for a child that young, that was a very difficult, set of circumstances. One of the things that I credit for being here was having the ability to be able to go and live with my grandmother after about a year. And although my grandmother didn't have a lot of resources, she was just a person that was incredibly, in tuned with herself and her place in the world, and really taught me about how important it was to kind of strive to be my best and to give back to other people. And she really kind of had this mantra that she would tell me that I was destined to do something great in the world. So even when I failed, that mantra, that voice inside my head would tell me to kind of keep going forward, because just where I was at the moment really wasn't where I was meant to be. And
right. And I think it's really important that, we can be that support for another person. And I'm glad that your grandmother was for you. Now, the thing that's so interesting about your upbringing, and until somebody is homeless in a shelter on the streets, all we can do is learn and live it through your eyes, through your experience. But I know something that really got to you as a little girl is when someone took your shoe. And what did losing that one shoe mean to you?
I was in a homeless shelter, and I don't know if someone lost it or took it, or I misplaced it, but I had one pair of shoes that fit. And losing that shoe just really took me out of any type of normalcy. And the shelter did find another pair of shoes for me, but they never quite fit. And I remember that being such a pivotal moment, because when I went to go and live with my grandmother, I got off the Greyhound bus. And at this point, I was like 10 years old, and she hugged me and she looked at me and she said, "Nikki, you're fortunate enough to live in a different America than the America I was born into. What are you going to do with it?" And I looked at her and I said, "I want to be a lawyer, and I want to have lots of shoes." Because to me, I know, being a lawyer really meant advocating for the voiceless in society, like my family, but having shoes, all the shoes that I could wear, just meant a level of like comfort that, I would never kind of be hungry again. And I have a fantastic shoe closet that my wonderful husband built for me a couple of years back. So I credit to you.
A girl who likes her shoes, but you don't like the shoes for a superficial reason. I mean, the shoes literally have meaning to you. And, the thing that I also found very inspiring about your story when you were homeless was that your mom had to fill up your days with what were you going to do in between the times that you weren't at the shelter. And you would spend time in the library, which not enough people go to libraries anymore, because we're so digitally, thrown at, with the iTunes and, YouTube and all the different social media. But here you were homeless, but yet learning from such great literature. How did that define who you are today?
I still love to read. And for me, what books were, I always say that they were some of my first playmates, because they opened up an entire world to me as a poor African-American woman, that, young girl that was living on the streets. I got to read about art and travel and opera, and, it opened up an entire world to me, exposed me to a lot of different kinds of people and a lot of different kinds of culture. And really, it really gave fuel to my imagination about what the world could be for me, and also gave me a sense of gratitude that, as challenged as my situation was, I was reading about people who had worse situations I was going through, reading about someone like Anne Frank, it just really puts things in perspective, and that I also might survive. But that ability to be able to read, to analyze, really has been incredibly helpful to me. And, I have the ability to read a book a day, and that really comes from being a child, and it helped me through college and law school. And in fact, when I went to live with my grandmother, they tested me and found that I was considered gifted in math and English. And so that put a different label on me going back to school, that I wasn't a homeless kid, that I was a smart kid.
So whether you're homeless or not homeless, go to the library, because honestly, it is what opened your mind and allowed you to probably, I'm not going to say become smarter than your average peers, but, it did allow you to see what was possible and learn from history and also your future. Now, I know you lived with your grandmother, and there was kind of a rule there that, you could only stay with her for a 2-week period, because grandchildren could only stay there. And I know you kind of got passed around to all the other seniors there, as their grandchild. And it just kind of worked out. But yet your brother went one direction to a foster home, and your mom, obviously, she battled her addiction and then, further loss. And, what I want to do when we come back from this break is I kind of want to evaluate, where were you at that point? Because yes, you had these dreams to become an attorney, but what did you need to keep your focus on that? Because it would have been so easy for you to give up, to see that, everything was stacked against you from being able to succeed. So I want you to think about that when we come back from this break. And everybody listening, when you hear Nikki's story, you might find aspects of her life that you resonate with, and other parts, might be different, but we all have the ability to keep going, to not lose sight of our goals, our dreams, and to stay determined. That's how we maintain the focus for our life. So allow her to open her door, share her story, and listen in. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back after this break.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about maintaining your focus in life for what you really want. And how do you do that? And our inspirational guest today is sharing her story. I mean, going from being homeless and surviving poverty to having a mother who went through addictions, losing her brother in the foster system. Honestly, Nikki had every reason to go the other direction, to not follow her dreams, but she did. And she kept that fire in her belly, that passion to serve and help others, that kind of led her along as a magnet pulling her. And so I'd very much like to welcome Nikki back to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
Absolutely. And, you know, Nikki, your career did not happen overnight. I mean, you own your own practice, and kudos to you for that, because we've all learned here during the first part of the interview just everything you dealt with as a child to owning that practice. But it took years. It took your 20s. It took into your 30s. And what do you think was the secret ingredient that allowed you to not give up, to maintain that focus?
I mean, I think for me, I knew what my life would look like if I didn't keep moving forward, and it wasn't the life that I wanted. I grew up surrounded by a lot of adults who had a lot of talent, but their attitude had really stopped them. They were stunted in some way, and I didn't want that for myself. I knew that if I didn't make different choices, I'd probably be a single mom. I might have some type of addiction, and I knew I'd probably most likely be in poverty, and it's just what I didn't want. And I was more afraid of staying where I was than moving forward. And for so many people, that's why they get stuck, is the fear of failure. But choosing not to go after your dreams is also a choice, and you may not realize it. And I think for me, one of the biggest lessons that I want people to take away from my story is that what I've learned out of everything that I've gone through is the answer to everything you were searching for is that you are good enough. That it's not what other people think about you, but what you know to be true about yourself. And for me, the biggest success isn't being a lawyer, but it is looking in the mirror and being satisfied and being the type of woman that I had always hoped to be, someone who helps other people and can try to inspire other people, not by trying to be perfect, but someone who tries to live their life with purpose.
You know what? I love that. And I can hear your grandma. I can hear that coaching when you were a little girl. I can hear that. She was a great mentor and got you there. But I know that self-awareness, came at a young age, that you wanted to open your eyes. You wanted to learn by the mistakes that others were making so that you stayed on a good path. And it's interesting, everybody listening now, because Nikki could have just stopped at being an attorney, which is a great career. And she does give back to people daily within that regard. But you also wanted to make sure that other people like you, who you were, that 9-year-old girl, that other people who are homeless, who are struggling with an addiction, that they were going to be supported. And so you created an app. Can you tell us briefly about that?
Yes, it's called Donify, which allows people in need to be able to use their smartphone to find nearby nonprofits, and it's all manner of services. So, housing, food, medical care, drug and alcohol treatment, legal services. It kind of runs the gamut, because so many people stay out on the streets longer or end up on the streets because they don't necessarily know how to access the system and the things that are available to them. The app also allows people who don't need services, but we like to say would like to be of service, to donate small amounts. We call it microphilanthropy. And lastly, there's a notify function on the app that allows you that if you're in the city and you see someone in need, you can touch the button and it will call an outreach team member that's 24/7 in the city of Philadelphia, and they'll send someone out to check on that homeless person and bring them into shelter if that's what the person's interested in. And for me, it's really been full circle because it allows people to have access to services. But it was also really important for me to be an example that when you invest in people and you educate people, that it's not just about charity, but it really is that idea of investing and hopefully helping them to become leaders. And that I've used my experience with homelessness to be able to be a leader and a problem solver in my community on this issue. And, you know, especially young people, like when I go in and speak in high schools, you know, that really makes an impact on them.
Absolutely.
And I'm still working on this issue.
You know, and I want everyone to follow that app in time, because I know it's in Philadelphia now, but you're going to be, you know, having it go out nationwide over time. And again, everybody, Rome was not built in a day. So either is this app, but
Yeah.
let's, you know, send positive wishes your way, because the more that grows, it serves more people. But again, you could have just been completely content and happy with your life as an attorney, a successful one at that, but you found a need and you wanted to be the solution to a problem. And that was, you know, stemmed from what you encountered as a child. And I think we could all look back at our childhood. We could look at the challenges we faced and look for how in the future we can be that solution. We can support others. So I love that you did that. And I know that your life continues to unfold, so much so that you're going to foster. You're going to be a mother role to somebody down the line here. And that wasn't always on your radar either. And I just want to touch on that briefly because, you know I'm in my 40s, you're in your 40s. And the thing is sometimes we go after our careers first and we wonder, okay, well, can I have the kids? Can I have the family? Can I have that relationship I've been longing for? And you can. Can you share with us very briefly about that journey?
Absolutely. I've been happily married to my husband for about 13 years. You know, I've been so busy with traveling and speaking and practicing law. You know, we kind of put children on the back burner, but I've been really lucky to have important children in my life. So at the beginning of the year, I started mentoring a little girl in foster care. And because of that relationship and just seeing the amount of homes that she had been in, you know, it became really important for my husband and I to realize that, you know, we could provide a stable home for someone, and that our city really was lacking in thousands of foster homes that could provide for children. So we're at the end of our certification process, so we really should be certified in the next couple of weeks. And it looks like the little girl that I've been mentoring, she lost her placement, and so we're trying to work it out so that she can possibly come and stay with us. So it wasn't really what I expected to happen in life, but honestly, it's just a continuation of really what I value in this world, which is, you know, being a source of inspiration and to try to help other people. And I just really love this little girl.
Aww.
And so, you know, I think she is bringing so much to our life, more than we even could possibly give her. So I feel really fortunate to, you know, be moving into maybe this next phase when I really thought motherhood wasn't something that was going to be in the cards for me.
Well, you know what, I wanted to bring that into the story here is because we're talking about maintaining your focus. But the thing is sometimes we just have to be open to like the unknowns, kind of almost get out of our own way and just let life knock on our door and then open it. And now you did open that door, one that you weren't expecting to open. And here you go. You very well might become a foster mom. And I want to kind of round out our interview today because we can all have focus on career endeavors we want, relationships we want to have. But I'm a big supporter of those wild dreams that we have for ourselves, the ones that like are almost never going to come through because of our circumstances, but why not? Just shoot for it, right? And I know that when you were in the shelter, in the community room, you would watch Miss America. And you were kind of enamored by those women because they were beautiful, but they were smart. And you really wanted to become that one day, but obviously you were in a homeless shelter. And then you got busy becoming an attorney. And, you know, you probably felt like that's what you were supposed to do and not go following a wild dream, become an attorney, become a good one. But you just recently were crowned what?
So I was named first runner-up for Mrs. Pennsylvania America. So my very first pageant. It's very exciting, and actually right now I'm in an online competition to see against other first runner-ups throughout the country to see if I would win a berth to the Mrs. America pageant, which is happening in the next 3 weeks. So, it was, to some people that might seem silly for all of the things that I've done in my life, but I don't think that there's any dream that is silly. And for me, it was very important to, even though I was in my 40s, even though it maybe seemed like the time had passed, I really don't believe that there's anything that isn't possible for myself. And I believe that that's true for other people. And I'm really actually proud of myself that, I went out and did it. My platform was about homelessness. It's not really an issue that a lot of women who competed in pageants have actually personally dealt with themselves. So I was able to bring this experience to a whole new audience, and I would, wear my sash and talk about my experience and go to a homeless shelter, and how the kids in the shelter would look at me was the same way I looked at the television set. And, it was less about the pageant and more about continuing to challenge yourself. And for me as a woman to say, this is something that's important for me. I think so many times people try to tell us what we should want or what's important to us. And I think it's all important. And some things are, solving world hunger, and, some things are just
going after a pageant. Right. Well, Nikki,
suit at 40 something.
Well, Nikki, I'm telling you, like I said, from 0 to 10, you are living full out in your life, giving, going after your dreams. And I wanted to bring in all those aspects of your journey because for everybody listening today, it is never too late to give. It is never too late to go after those wild dreams. So thank you, Nikki, very much for being on our show today. And we'll be thinking of you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I'll let you know what happens next.
Oh, my goodness. I'm on the edge of my seat, literally on the edge of my seat for this. Have a great day. Thank you so much for calling in, and we'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. And so everybody listening, it's about maintaining your focus. So what is it that you want? You heard Nikki's story. She wanted to be an attorney. She wanted to be Miss America. There's a lot of things that she wanted, and she eventually worked her way to getting there. But what do you want? Let's get you out there. Let's get that plan of action in place. So we're going to be taking your calls in the next segment. I just want you to know that my lines are open. I'm here to guide you and support you in any way that I can. So today we're talking about maintaining focus, and we'll be coming right back after this break. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us. When it comes to maintaining your focus, you always want to keep in mind, what is it that I really want in my life? What support might I need to get there? What resources? And always remember that you're worth it, that you can do it. I think sometimes that's the biggest ingredient of all when we maintain our focus, to believe in ourselves, keep stepping forward, arms wide open, reaching up high, knowing that the wildest dreams can come true.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you again for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And we've been talking about maintaining focus in your life. And that could be career, that could be a hobby, that could be finding the love of your life, strengthening your relationships, you name it. But you want to pinpoint, what is that? What is the thing in my life that's heavy in my heart, top of my mind, that I really want to get some relief from, that I want to be able to springboard from it and really go after life in a big way? That's how you maintain your focus. It's just knowing, what is that? So we're going to go to the phone lines now and talk to one of our callers. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi, I just wanted to call in and ask for some guidance from you.
Sure. What's going on?
So I'm in a romantic relationship where it feels like between me and him, I'm the only one really trying to water the relationship and keep it alive. he doesn't really care whether it works or not, and that makes me feel confused. So my question is, how do I invest time to water myself and to improve myself instead of putting all my energy into trying to keep the relationship afloat?
Well, I actually have one question for you. Is this a relationship that you want to stay in, that you see this being your life partner?
Well, when it began, I thought that's what I wanted because I was very young. I was 21 when I met him. But it's been many years, and I feel like I'm only in it because I'm familiar with it, because it's like a safety net for me. I don't think I want to continue it like marriage or anything. It's been very difficult lately because it's turned kind of toxic in a way.
Well, and the reason why I asked that question is when you consider, in your words, watering yourself, it really starts with considering the fact that if this is a relationship that you feel perhaps that it's kind of reached its end, and everybody kind of goes through a checking out process. Like, you want to give that person every reason in the book to make this happen, right? You might give them ultimatums and deadlines, but then you move those out a little bit because you really want it to work. But also at some point we kind of check out, and we don't even become resentful. We just become distant. And in that distance, that's where you focus on what you want. And so if you have started to notice that this is not the right match for you long term, then it may be better for you as you start to water yourself and evolve. It's better that you start to transition out of the relationship, because the longer you're in a relationship that you know doesn't have a future, you're keeping yourself away from somebody who could be your future. So you almost have to leave one and then take some time for yourself. Get selfish about it. Do things that you've always wanted to do because that's your own personal time. And then open your heart again for another relationship. But I think that's very sacred time in between relationships when somebody is single and they have, nights and days where they can work on a hobby or meet new people, and you're not sad anymore because you're looking forward. You're doing things for yourself. And now, when you come to a new relationship, it's a stronger version of you than where you are now. Do you see that?
Yeah, I guess I'd be stronger because I'm not captive of something that's hurting me anymore.
Absolutely. And think about it this way. You give your power away, whether it's an intimate relationship, a partnership at work that's going south, or anything toxic. You give your power away the longer you stay on it, the longer you beg and plead and in some cases settle. You take your power back when you say, I'm worth more. I'm going to go find my happiness. And then you make that your new plan. So what you want to do is maintain the focus for your life by looking ahead, saying, you know what? I'm a loving, honest person, and somebody's going to be so lucky to have me.
Yeah.
Right? Is that something you can do?
I can think about that. Yeah, I can think about how somebody else can appreciate me better.
And you know where that nervous laughter comes from? That nervous laughter is because it's acceptance. Whew, finally, someone told me it's okay. Finally, I feel like it's okay. That's where that nervous laughter comes in, because you now know you've outgrown this relationship. Tear the Band-Aid off, run into the future, arms wide open.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Okay, I can do that.
It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. Do you believe that?
I do believe that. I believe it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Exactly. So tell that person, I love you. I loved you for a long time. I wish you the best, but I got to go. I got to move on. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for calling in. Absolutely. And for everybody listening today, I hope that you have been able to achieve some focus for what it is that you want in your life. Our entire Living Full Out family is dedicated each week to supporting you, and that includes Rich and Aaron and Riley and Camille and Amanda and everybody who just wants to make sure that you leave this show invigorated, ready to go after your dreams and live full out. I'll be seeing you next week. Remember to check us out on Alexa, the app stores. Go to livingfullout.com to hear today's show again. Love you all. Have a great day. I believe in you. And here's to you living your life Full Out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, Living Full Out.
Thank you for watching the Living Full Out YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button. And if you're interested in the content we provide, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Now, for more inspirational content, click the video on the right to get to know me, Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show and certified life coach, in more detail. Click the video on the left and you'll be motivated by the Living Full Out radio show and our inspirational guests and callers. Keep in mind, we welcome your comments. If you're empowered, let us know. Feel free to leave a comment. We would enjoy hearing from you. And here's to you, living your life full out.